I'm Jason Matthews, owner of Matthews Painting Company near Warsaw, Indiana. We continue our tutorial videos that we show each of our new employees that we train to become professional painters. Today we're going to discuss an airless sprayer gun, particularly an older Titan model, which we like to actually use rather than the new Titan models. We have some Graco guns as well that we'll show in a later video, but this video will be specifically about describing the Titan gun, the older model, the gun filters, the guard, the insert in the guard, as well as showing how these tips go in and disassemble. So if we want to bring the camera up close here, first of all, I'll go ahead and show you how this disassembles. This actually just pulls out like that. That actually came right out of there. Just pulls out, snaps in there. This unscrews, and this is where you are going to find your gun filter. Typically we have one in there. I went ahead and took it out for this video. This here is for your fine finish tips. Those are like those 211 and 311 fine finish Titan tips that we showed in video number 1. We're going to go ahead and keep the more coarse filter in the gun for storing it. That will probably be what we use next. Now this is not righty-tighty. If you try to tighten this to the right, you'll be trying that all day long. It actually tightens to the left. These are reverse threaded, and they go in just like this, just hand tight. I don't even tighten them that much. Now there is a newer Titan gun filter. They look just like this, but they do not have the thread there. They are just a push-in type. Those do not work in the older Titan guns. Only the reverse threaded filters actually work. Also, I'm going to bring in over here a couple other filters. Give me just a minute here. These are for our Graco guns that we will show later. Those also do not work in the older Titan gun. Those would only work in the Graco gun. So once we have that in there, we go ahead and tighten this handle back on, just hand tight. If you start spraying and you're leaking here a little bit, you can tighten this just a little bit, but I try to only do this hand tight. That's typically just fine. And then this snaps back into that larger area there rather than this one. I tried pushing in there for a while earlier and it wasn't going because it goes in this larger one. And that's how we assemble the gun filter into these older style Titan guns. There is a safety here as well. If you bring that back, that does not allow the trigger to pull. And then this, a lot of folks will hang when they're just moving from one area to another. Those really aren't used much as well. And of course, this is where we would attach a gun using the Teflon tape going clockwise. What we're going to show you now is the guard. We use the Titan guard with the Titan tips. These are interchangeable with the Graco guns as well as the hoses, but those are the only interchangeable parts. But you can see in here is a little bushing. We are going to, when that gets really full and nasty, maybe every 5 to 10 jobs we'll replace these, but you actually go in here, push it down, and it comes out. Now if you ever did not have that in there and you attach this to your sprayer and put your tip in there and tried to spray, paint would go everywhere. You would know right away if you forgot to put this in. These come in 2 pieces. They're in our kits that we send out with our crew leaders in their airless sprayer bins, which you would see in the other video as we described all the airless sprayer accessories. But that pushes on. Then what we do, that's what this little tip is for. We actually will let that set in there. And if you notice the half moon shape, that half moon shape has to go in, when we go inside, it has to go in at this angle. The reason being is that tip is going to come in there and it's going to sit right in that half moon. So if you have that turned like this, your tip is not going to go into this guard. So as we insert that in, you can look from the top actually when you're putting that in, and the video can probably see this. You push really hard and then you test if your tip goes in, and it does. Then I go ahead and turn it around and I give that just a good push on that bushing so it's seated nice and tightly. And now that is ready to actually attach to your gun. This will simply get screwed on Again, this is only hand tight as well. And if you notice, this will rotate. I'll explain that in just a minute. Our tip is now ready to go into the gun. I'm going to loosen that just a little bit. If you're having troubles with that tip, I'm glad I was having troubles actually, going into the guard, go ahead and loosen it right here and then hand tighten that back up. Okay. Now we can go two different directions. This is all set up to spray now, and I do want to show you something. Do you see this arrow? That tells you that it's ready and set up to spray. If it's going the opposite direction, that's what we do when our tip plugs and we actually want to be able to get a little bit of the junk out, and then we reverse it back to this position to go back to spraying. You might ask, why does this rotate? So the best way to explain this would be is when it's in this position here, your spray is this direction. When you go like this, your spray turns. So it goes from this to this. So it just changes your fan depending on the surface you're actually spraying. So some folks like to turn it like this. If you can step back on the video really quickly here. So if I was coming down an edge, they might have it like this because your fan would be in this angle. When you have it turned like this, that would be more coming across siding because your fan would be in this angle like so. I hope I explained that somewhat unexplainable. And I don't believe I'm missing anything else here. For more information, you can contact us at matthewspainting.com, and if you liked what you saw, give us a thumbs up.